Green flag. Green, green, green. That's what they say when they start the race.
Green, green grass.
Gentlemen, how are you?
All right.
Here's this guy.
All right.
Oh, he's got some hardware
Yeah,
on.
he's got some
Alan,
hardware on. Alan,
How are you, Alan?
Winston,
Good.
have a seat. We got your
See, we
set
got your
right here.
headphones on there.
Did you find our mystery studio okay?
I did. It was cool. Thanks for the video.
Oh, yeah, the mapping.
A little tutorial about how to find the place.
Just swing that over to you.
We try to keep it fairly secretive.
See how that
around
volume is for you.
Here. You should be able to raise that up a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
Can I rotate it?
Yeah, you probably can.
Probably can.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
just
don't want to break it.
manhandle it.
Yeah, that's all right.
Just
All right.
manhandle
That's
that thing.
Good to go.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So this is our second ever mystery guest. Michael came in our old studio 6 months ago, probably.
I'm sizing this guy up right now. I'm trying to figure out,
We sized Michael up. We were just like, wow, what a guy. There's so much to
So
not
much to
know.
take
There's
in.
so much to not know. And so we challenged him when he left. We said, you're the guy. You go pick our next mystery guest.
Yeah.
6 months later, here we are. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks a lot, Michael.
Thank you so much.
He's been busy opening
been
up a new spot.
Pretty busy.
Yeah.
His restaurant is cool. And the most intimidating part of this, or the thing I've thought the most about is, you challenge him to come up with the next guest. And that's a tall order to follow Michael Farren. So that's been the most intimidating part. But I'm so honored that he thought of me and that you
Incredible microphone voice.
He's got a great
Unbelievable
mic
mic
voice.
voice.
Do the headphones sound good?
They
Al?
do. They do. I've never sounded.
Alan, I'm gonna
this
have
way
to look
myself.
at this a few times.
No, that's
'Cause
okay.
I'm like, we don't Google people.
We don't. We know nothing. And then what happened was it was a slow, quick arrival because 24 hours ago we said, "Hey, Alan, can you do tomorrow morning at 9:30?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Sure."
Yep.
I mean,
flexibility.
very
I like that.
flexible. I like that.
The Navy makes you that way.
Oh, okay.
Here
Clue.
we go. A little drop.
Clue number one.
Clue number one.
So we got the Navy. So Alan's a former military guy or still in the military?
25 years, 9 months. I retired almost 10 years ago.
Okay.
Wow.
All that time in the Navy in one branch.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for that.
I am
Thank you.
curious. The first question I'd love to ask you, Alan, is why do you think you're here?
Why do I think I'm here? Well,
How did you end up sitting in the illustrious
Yeah.
guest chair?
How much
Right.
did Michael pay you?
Yeah.
Michael didn't pay me anything. In fact, he approached me at his restaurant. We were on that back patio. I think he alluded to it on his episode.
Yeah.
But, I was having dinner there with my family, including my daughter who lives in New Zealand, our son-in-law, and our granddaughter. And he approached me. We met at the Cigar Lounge there in Spring Hill. And part of the thing there is each person on a week-by-week basis gets to tell their story. And what I found out in that is everybody's got a lot of challenges, some very significant, some, everyone's got something that
Right.
they've had to work through. And up until 7-8 years ago, I would have told you life was pretty easy. And then all of a sudden, things kind of got challenging.
Yeah.
And so he heard my story. Mark, one of the co-owners of the cigar shop, he said, Michael, can you, and I didn't know who Michael was, to be honest with you at that time. But after hearing my story, the cigar shop owner pulled the acoustic guitar off the wall and says, hey, Michael, would you mind singing this song that you wrote, Kind? And Michael sang it. And I heard him sing and play, and I'm like, this guy's an absolute pro.
Mm-hmm.
But then I heard the words to the song. And I can see why I think they thought it was appropriate for that time. And that song really touched my heart.
So the playing of that song was kind of connected to the story you had just
It
shared,
absolutely
right?
was,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Was your family there?
No, this is a men's fellowship group.
Okay, got it.
Every
got it.
Tuesday morning, in fact, I went there this morning, and
wow.
it's my favorite 2 hours of the week.
Wow.
And so
Oh, cool.
I'm curious about this. Every Tuesday morning you do this.
Right.
2 hours.
Right.
There are cigars involved
There are.
Tuesday morning.
There are, yes.
Wow.
In fact, so I told you about my son-in-law, my daughter. They arrived late on a Monday night back in July. We got to spend 10 days with them here in Nashville. And I invited my son-in-law as we were leaving the airport, and our daughter said the same thing. You mean you smoke cigars at 7 a.m? She said, that sounds like a barfarama.
yeah.
I said, no, it's actually very good. With
Cigars
some
for
coffee.
breakfast. Yeah.
Right.
They live in New Zealand now. Is your son-in-law a New Zealander?
He is. Our daughter
Okay.
went there to be a nanny
Okay.
back in 2018, and she had a year-long visa. She worked for a family for about 6 months, and then there were some things with that family, I think financial health, that kind of thing. So she went to work for an insurance company, fielding, I think, claims phone calls in a cubicle. And James was the guy in the next cubicle. And so the rest kind of became what it was.
Yeah.
They got married in 2022. They had a granddaughter in June of 2023.
Wow.
And here we are. So they're over there. He's a Kiwi. Our granddaughter is a dual citizen.
Oh,
and
wow.
We're going from there.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
On the baby.
I want to go back to this moment where you shared your story in the cigar lounge, and because I'm, part of the reason why Michael probably said, "Hey, I think you'd be a good fit to come on here and talk about that." Might be connected, I'm assuming, to what that story is that you shared. Can you give us a little bit, tell us a little bit, who is Alan?
Sure.
What is that
well,
story like?
I guess the most career-wise, I think the most notable thing that I've done, I was the Blue Angel maintenance officer in 2000, 2001
Oh, wow.
for those show seasons. So that was part and parcel of the Navy career. I went in right after high school, went into the nuclear power program after a couple attempts, was selected for a Naval ROTC scholarship, went to the University of Oklahoma, got commissioned as an aviation maintenance officer. And through various steps, the thing about getting selected for the Blue Angels is it's about your ability to work closely with people, be on the road with them for 300 days a year, and the implicit trust that you
Good
have to
gracious.
have in each other. So,
Yeah.
again, my job as the maintenance officer, the jets were good if I told them the jets were good. And the jets were good if I would tell them the jets were good if my sailors and Marines told me the jets were good. So it's implicit trust. And you can imagine how close they fly up to as little as a Coke can's, height apart from each other.
Wow.
So the trust is all part of that. So,
Did that mean you had to go into engineering school at the Naval Academy, or how did you get
into
maintenance?
naval aviation. My undergrad major at University of Oklahoma was mechanical engineering.
Okay.
And so I did. You can get commissioned into a lot of different things. You can be a pilot, a naval flight officer. Think of Goose from Top
Yeah.
Gun.
Yeah. Talk to me, Goose.
Right, exactly. You can get commissioned into submarines. The field I got commissioned into, I hadn't even heard of until about 6 months before I got my degree, was aviation maintenance. And so what that basically means is you're responsible for the training, the equipping, i.e. all the logistics that go with making an aviation squadron work, an aviation unit work. And so you just apply that to the Blue Angels, where you do have the best of the best in terms of the sailors and Marines that are working for you. They're very efficient. You have all the resources you need.
Yeah. Wow.
Certainly compared to most other military units. So,
Yeah.
so that's, I guess, the most notable thing that I did. And then I moved on and had a command tour, which was a huge honor. There's nothing more humbling and more amazing than being able to take, young men and women, some of which they grow into older men and women that work for you, and you're entrusted with their care, with their careers, with their, guiding them and that kind of a thing. So there was that. And then where things kind of got interesting or more interesting, I always had a passion to play drums. I've played drums since the sixth grade.
Yeah.
And I always wondered what it would be like to do that professionally.
Yeah.
So Memorial Day weekend of 2015, my wife and I came down. We lived in Southern Maryland at the time. And we visited Nashville, loved it. And I took home a book that had some guidance about if you're a musician thinking about moving to Nashville. And it had 150 songs listed in there. And I said, I think if I put in the work, I can get to where I need to be. So we came back in August, a few months later. And
this was right after you retired?
This was about 5-6 months before I retired.
Okay.
So I go back to Maryland and I, woodshed on the kit and stuff like that. Come back in August, and basically the decision I came to is I can live with moving to Nashville, not being able to cut it. What I can't live with is looking 20 years down the road and wondering what might have happened.
If you didn't try.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so we moved down, and it's been almost 10 years, and I'm still at it. I had two specific goals. One is to be the drummer for a touring Nashville artist, and then the other was to play the Opry. Still chasing those, but I've been working steadily for 10 years, and it's been been pretty
Mostly
neat.
like studio work?
I've done some studio. I play a lot on Broadway. I'm playing Broadway this afternoon there at,
Oh, no kidding.
at Tootsie's. But I play for, this is a byproduct of kind of the music career. It's what happens when you hang out with Elvis and a magician. So, I've been playing for an Elvis tribute artist for going on 8 years now. And one of the things we do is Royal Caribbean headliner cruises.
Yeah.
And so we'll go out, and I'm a regular cruise passenger, except for we'll do 2 45-minute shows in an evening, and then we'll have an hour and a half rehearsal before that. And then we're regular cruise passenger. Well, about 4 weeks ago, we were in St. John, New Brunswick. Scooter accident. The brakes didn't work. I'm going down a hill. My choice is I can either roll into an intersection, hope there's not a car there, or I can bail in the most controlled way possible. So that's what I chose to do. Little torn PCL ligament, but it's on the upswing.
Oh my goodness!
But no, it's all good. But yeah, so that's been my.
You can still do the hi-hat, right?
I can.
Okay.
I can.
You mentioned
Did you know
earlier that.
Did you know that in the left foot?
No, I don't know.
Do you know what the
anything
right
about
foot
drumming.
does?
Bass drum.
There,
Exactly. Nice.
Yeah.
So
you got something.
So the thing is,
I've got great rhythm. I do, man. I'm telling you, I did sit down at a kit one time in Bill Hampton's basement and started like messing around. And Blake Thompson,
like,
who's our friend,
what?
who's a good drummer, was like, "Dude, you're kind of a natural at this."
Oh,
that
I
was
love
the only
that.
time I've ever.
Yeah.
I'm
But then you walk away and say,
I'm a great drummer in my head.
oh,
In my head.
some people can sit down and I bet you, if you put some time into it, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I had a friend in the Navy who sat down like, Matt, you're crushing this. I think you're in the wrong job.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you mentioned earlier that at some point along your journey, things got challenging.
Right.
There was talk a little bit more about that.
So the first thing was, and this is not good or bad. This was our daughter, following her path, and she always had all the confidence in the world. But she moved to New Zealand. Mm. That just in itself, with one of your children moving that far away is challenging. Yeah. Mm. And then she was staying, and we love James. We have an amazing granddaughter. She's got an amazing life over there. So there's that, and then COVID happened. I think that was just naturally challenging for everybody. Mm. And then for me, is this the last time I'm going to get to play drums? I think a lot of people kind of maybe had those thoughts and feelings. The real challenging thing was in September of 2023, our then 32-year-old son died of fentanyl.
Oh, my goodness.
And he worked in a restaurant in Berry Hill, and he took home one of his coworkers, dropped him off at his apartment, and as he would commonly do, he spent some time hanging out with him, this guy and his girlfriend. And our son, as one of his friends put it, he would do anything to connect with people. He loved connecting with people. And I'll be honest, we kind of knew he did a little bit of marijuana. He was not in and out of rehab. It wasn't any one of these kind of things at all. It was, I think, a one-time thing. He was going through a breakup with a fiance he had dated, and so that was really rough on him. And I think they were literally going to have the conversation that night about what happens next, because they were living together. What happens to his stuff, her stuff? Where do they go? All those kinds of things. We had a very open, communications and all those kinds of things. I would have dinner with him between gigs on Tuesday nights. I had an afternoon shift and then a late shift. We would often meet there, so we were talking all the time. And it was out of left field. It was absolutely out of left field. So that was the most challenging thing that, and I won't even say have been through, that we are going through. Yeah, because it doesn't go away.
It won't stop. No, man, I'm sorry.
But thank you.
Golly.
He was a special young man. And
what was his name?
Isaac, which means laughter. Yeah. So I'm sorry, I just got really heavy.
But I love what you said about him doing whatever it took to connect with people, and I'm really sorry about that. That's hard. It is tragic. It's hard. How are you all doing right now?
We are. There are 3 things that we realized within probably 36 hours of finding out that he had died. The first one was in the parking lot right after the police officer told us, because, picture the scene. We're in this apartment complex in the Hermitage area. His car, the Jeep, is in the parking lot. And my wife had gotten there early. We had some friends in town to go to the Titans game that Sunday. And so Gina went ahead to find our son because we hadn't heard from him. My friends and I went up there about 20 minutes later. The police are there. My wife had done a welfare check on him. And basically they, as we found out later, they had run, his tattoos and all. And the police officer knew that he died, but he was waiting on me to get there to say. So he told me, your son passed away last night. There's nothing in the world that prepares you for that, for those words. I motioned my wife over and told her, and we hugged and obviously had the immediate reaction of crying and stuff like that. And she took a couple steps back and she says, we're going to be okay, right? Meaning marriage, because that's, if not the most challenging, certainly one of the most challenging things that a couple can go through. That was number one. Number two, and I've alluded to this earlier, we got home, we went to the hospital. He had already been taken to the medical examiner's office. We went to the medical examiner's office, gave some more identifying details, and kind of got what the next couple of days were going to look like. We got home. My wife put her keys and purse on the table, and she looks at me and she says, we've had it so easy. And in that moment, I remember, we really have. We haven't had to face any significant, I mean, there's the military, there's the point, but we had not had to face any significant adversity to that point, which means we had been incredibly blessed. And the third thing was on our walk the next night, I said, Gina, you realize we're going to grieve this differently. And so we need to, while we're doing this together, and there's no question about that, we're closer than ever, Gina and I are, but we kind of need our space to do this differently.
Where did you get that wisdom?
I don't even know. I think I may have read a post. I found a grief Facebook group, I think, kind of right away, and just spent the evening kind of staring at the wall, kind of processing thought. And we have a scrolling picture frame that, rolls different pictures and just different memories. And I'm not even sure, but
that's beautiful.
So, for me, I'm into the full immersion. I told you we went out we'd go out to dinner and things. I want to be at the restaurants that we went out together. I figured out that, and it still does. It'll hit any given moment. Something will strike me, and I'll start crying. But in those immediate aftermath, I think. Just in the immediate aftermath, I would kind of realize, man, it's building up. I'm going to have to let it out. I'd be on the way downtown to play a gig. Let's say this is a month after, 2 months after, and I would listen to Cats in the Cradle to just let it out. Something that I knew would just let it out. He loved the band Fish, so I'd listen to the Fish station and just kind of let it go. And as far as playing, I didn't play for 9 days. I felt like that's something I really needed to do. And the first 3 songs of the gig are kind of scripted. Each person sings and they get the sound check on their mics and all this. The first request we did was The Dance by Garth Brooks. I'm like, man, if I can get through this, I can continue playing, but I don't know. But we did it fine. I cried during the song. There are still some songs that get me as I'm playing them. Till You Can't by Cody Johnson. That one tears me up still. That's just I guess the way that I cope, I would just call it the full immersion thing. My wife is a little more, and I messed up. I kind of tried to push her or expected things in some ways to be the same. Hey, I've made these friends a couple years ago playing downtown, and they're in town again. I'd like you to meet them. She really doesn't like going downtown. That's the last place that we saw him, and it's hard for her. And so she relies more, and we both do, but she really relies on a group of really, really close friends. And God has this way of orchestrating things. She's got 4 of her best friends all of which have lost sons
Oh my goodness.
before us. And so she's had people that she can, they're my friends too, but you know, we've had people we can turn to and share with and things like that. It's really important. I don't know how anyone goes through something like this without faith. And I don't know how anyone goes through something like this without good friends.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how has the community around you and Gina and your family, has it changed since you lost Isaac?
It has. You kind of, not to drop another song title, but you find out who your friends are. And we have a team who has walked through this with us. There are some friends and family members who disappointingly kind of have not. And so we're just sorting that out, and you lean on the people who are there for you. And, you know, those who aren't, you just hope that someday we can come back.
I don't want to pry, but I'm interested in that for a moment. You know, not naming names, not getting into drama, but have you been able to pinpoint or think about what is it about this challenge that maybe some people aren't equipped or aren't willing to walk with this or walk with you through this?
It's interesting. Sometimes it has to do with maybe their own experiences where, you know, maybe they haven't been pleasant. They haven't been in the space. That's a weird term to use for that, but they've just not been in the space, or they've got their own stuff, and it's too much. And I understand that. Like I said, everyone's got their things that they go through, and some people aren't in a place to be there for you in that way, and that's kind of just how it goes. But other people that have experience, you know, some of our best friends that have been there, they'll say, "Hey, you're gonna feel this way." I mean, and everybody grieves differently again, but you know, this is normal. This basically anything that you feel when you're grieving. My experience is that it's normal, but some people don't know. One of the, I guess, the more specific vignettes is from Isaac's memorial service, and I didn't know the etiquette. I mean, I've been to a few funerals in my lifetime and things, but I had a couple musicians friends who couldn't stay from the memorial because they had to be somewhere for gigs, but they took the time to come by to the receiving line beforehand and extend their condolences. And while that but then they had to leave. But I maybe wouldn't have understood that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but I understand now. The fact that they took the time
They
to
showed
stop
up.
and
Yeah.
they showed up, and that's the key.
Yeah.
And so I would say, whether you know what you're doing or not, show up.
Yeah.
I've got a lot that I'm thinking about. One, I thought it was beautiful that the first just visceral reaction from your wife was to look at you and ask if we're going to be okay, or we're going to be okay, right? I think is what you said.
Exactly.
What a strong woman.
She is. She absolutely is.
To have that awareness in that moment. The other thing that I'm curious about, I think you said immersion.
Like full immersion.
Full immersion.
Grief. That's just my own chosen.
Yeah. I have an aversion to grief, certain emotions, you know, and I'm looking to cope and not go there. So when you said you turned on Cats in the Cradle, man, I just thought of how much courage that would take for you to do that. Is your emotional awareness and interest in yourself, is that something that you have grown in, or is that something that you've always had? How did you get to this place where, you know what, I'm gonna name this emotion and I'm just gonna let it loose?
I think
that just feels so scary and not common and mature.
Well, you know, man, I really liked your dad jokes episode. I'm just so
I did too.
It was like the polar opposite of this episode.
Absolutely. So that's you know, I feel bad that it's kind of
No,
this dark thing, but
no.
This is great. This is great. Thank you for being here and sharing your
thanks for
story.
having me. But yeah, so where did that come from?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a savant or anything, but I think my parents divorced when I was really young. This is a weird deal. I'm being in the military. I'm kind of dealing details and facts.
Yeah.
The reason I can remember the tempo to the song "Give It Away," 75 BPMs, George Strait, is because that was the year my parents' divorce was final. Right. So, and again, I'm 7 years old, I guess, at the time. And as a 7-year-old whose parents divorced, I had a lot of internal questions. What did I do to cause this?
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty common. What did I do to cause this? How can I get mom and dad back together? Things like that. And then, my mom and dad, they both remarried. And so they're into new things. And how do I fit into this new environment? And by the way, my dad was career Air Force. My stepdad was career Federal Aviation Administration and a real kind of a go-getter career-wise. So we moved a lot. So I was always in new environments, and I was probably hyper-aware, maybe to my own detriment, hyper-aware of how am I being received by other people? How am I fitting in? Am I fitting in?
Yeah.
What do I have to do to not get picked on as the new guy? That kind of a thing. In fact, in the blues, the finalist interview is me as the applicant and the 16 officers who are currently on the team, and they each can ask you anything they want.
Wow.
The question, two of the questions. The first one, what's your greatest strength? And I believe my answer was I'm adaptable, resilient, able to, fit into new situations, things like that. The next question was, what's your biggest weakness? And it was, I'm not sure that I'm always as confident as I need to be or should be. And they asked me why, and I said, well, I think it comes from being in those new environments all the time. So fast forward that, kind of hyper aware. And the other thing is, I spent my whole life with the absolute determination to not put on my children what was put on me. And I'm not saying my mom or dad did anything wrong with that, but it just was what it was. I don't want to put that on my kids to have to grow up
I love that.
with that.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm interested in you and Gina, her turning to you and asking you that question. We're going to be okay, right? And you mentioned it, and it's 100% true. The loss of a child is probably the number one thing that can just decimate a marriage. How have you two navigated that together? I know, you've shared about being very open that she's going to grieve differently than you are, giving her space, but also being together in this. What has that being together looked like?
So a lot of it has looked like, just talking on the couch or finding shows that we enjoy watching together. The other night we found in an old Facebook post that Isaac made about, just making his own Thai curry at home, some red curry paste and some coconut milk and just rice and chicken or shrimp or whatever you want to put it. We made that. So we've got his phone, we've got all his texts and all that kind of stuff, and communications. Our house is full of plants. Isaac was a botany major in college. He worked for a place called Priscilla's Plants here in Nashville. He took care of the plant wall, I think, at a restaurant called 60 Vines in the food hall there downtown, and other, I think Schneider Electric. He took care of the plants in that building. He brought a lot of that stuff home. Our house is full of plants. Gina tends to those plants faithfully. So, we enjoy that, but we do things to honor him. We've got Isaac went to New Zealand for about 8 months as well while his sister was there. And he bought a Mazda van, and he had a red flag that he kept in the window that said, "Keep exploring."
Yeah, that's cool.
Standard size flag, whatever. It's sun faded now, but we have that flag. We take that flag places with us specifically. We take pictures. The cruises have been an amazing thing. Again, I work for 3 hours of one of the days that we're there. The other time we're cruise passengers, which means we get to enjoy the ports. Gina can come with me. Royal Caribbean is awesome in that as long as we can get her to and from the ship, and we pay it's $18.50 a day in gratuities. She's in the room with me. So we have had a lot of time on cruise ships, on the pool deck, just in a room, just talking and processing things together, knowing, how each other is feeling and things like that. And, we smoke cigars on the back patio. I mean, my wife has they got like the sweet tips on them, and they're the cigarillo kind of things. But we have just found that's brought us closer, I think, than ever.
Yeah. That's amazing. The ways that you honor him, the plants thing, golly.
Just the two kids?
Yes.
How has that been on your daughter?
That's her being in New Zealand is hard. I wish we could do more of the day-to-day things with her, and talk to her. She has gone to a grief group. I know they're in New Zealand. She talked to a, this is kind of interesting. Gina grew up the daughter of a Nazarene pastor. And if you think of the Footloose, like pastor's daughter, she's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
She did everything, quote unquote, the right way.
That's right. Yeah.
As far as that goes. Cigars were never in the picture.
Sure. Yeah.
All that. But our daughter was kind of scared to tell us, but she talked to a medium. She had a friend of hers who was talking to a medium in Australia. She had a Zoom call with this person. And she was a little bit scared to tell us. So she told me first, which is kind of how it normally goes.
Yeah.
But the medium told her some things that put her, and there's some things that, only this medium could have known, kind of thing. And, she mentioned initials of E. My father's name was Eldon. My wife's grandfather's name was Edward. And she says, I'm getting the sense of, two people with the name of E. She says, your brother wants you to know that there's nothing anyone could have done differently. He also wants you to know that his grandfather, my dad, Eldon, was there to greet him, and they're just spent a lot of time together. And, I don't know if that's a good answer, whatever, but it's, I guess in a way, she's got some of his ashes in a small urn in her place. They've got they call it the Isaac bear, a stuffed animal for our granddaughter, where they've got a big picture of Isaac in the belly of the bear. They put a Santa hat on Isaac's urn on their shelf. The first or actually 2 Christmases ago.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not right. It was last Christmas. But anyways, so they remember him at the house. And there's places in New Zealand that he liked to go. They celebrated, I believe it was Isaac, the first birthday after Isaac passed. They went to his favorite place in Wellington, New Zealand, which is called Rogan Vagabond. Had a jazz band, kind of a house jazz band that was there, but they rented it out for, a couple hours, and just Isaac's friends in New Zealand met there and honored him that way.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Feels kind of silly to ask questions about mayonnaise
No, please do.
and Cracker Barrel,
It does. It does. Chris and I started this podcast because he had a dream that we were on microphones together, and then he was like, "You want to do this?" And it's just kind of grown into both of us, I think, practicing on ourselves more than anything. And then there's listeners involved too that we're talking to. But we have recently really identified what is the point of what we're trying to do. And for us as men with wives and families and jobs and all the things that come with that and the responsibilities, we're just trying to tend to our fields the best that we can, and there's a lot of road maps, which means there's not the one road map, where your experiences and your faith and your community, those are the maps that we have, And so we would put it under the umbrella of stewardship. What is in your field right now to steward? You know, it sounds like you've got a great outlet with music. You know, you've got your granddaughter and daughter and son-in-law in New Zealand. Gina's here. What is it like at your stage of life right now, and what do you see as part of your field and what you're stewarding?
So that's been a thing, is there has to be something good that can come from this. And so within the last month, and then even the last week, Gina's my biggest frustration too, is that they didn't know his name, right? Even though he was with two people that he knew, one of which I'm sure knew us. She served us at the restaurant where they worked. But he went to the hospital as a John Doe. That has been really, really tough, especially for Gina to accept that, you know, that nobody knew his name. And that's why she was on a mission that Monday morning to go find him.
Yeah.
But and if you think of fentanyl deaths at the time, Nashville was second, and I don't know if this is on a per capita basis or if this is just the gross numbers, but at that time, Nashville was second in the U.S. in fentanyl deaths, only to Baltimore, Maryland.
Gosh.
And so then you find out, and so for me, it's for Gina, it was him being a John Doe. For me, it was the process of, okay, now how do we get accountability, and how do we start to solve this fentanyl crisis that's in our country?
Yeah.
And you got all these things. People make assumptions because your son died of, something associated with drugs.
There probably
there is, and that's part of the reason why the district attorney because there's a stigma in the jury pool of somehow like they deserved it. Well, I'm here to tell you, the victims of that come from all walks of life, and it can be a one-time mistake. It can be the repetitive, the in and out of rehab kind of thing, but it can be a one-time mistake, and it all too often is. So for me, it's about the kind of the process improvement. So we're talking to the police. What we found out was the police responded first. Well, actually, it took it's in the 911 call. It took 3 minutes to administer CPR, where every second counts. And they have benchmarks for the 911 system, and I think it's within 30 seconds, 45 seconds. They want to have CPR being administered. Well, it took 3 minutes. It took 55 seconds before they even asked the question, what's going on, right? That was hard to, and I've listened to it. Gina can't listen to the 911 call. But again, the full immersion thing, that's just kind of where it went.
Yeah.
And then the police responded. The policeman took over CPR. The medics responded shortly after that. But little to no questions were asked about who is he, how to get here, where to get the drugs. There was no investigation done. And, ultimately the DA says we can't prosecute because there's insufficient evidence. Well, there's no evidence because they didn't take any time to look for any. And from the police's standpoint, it's a medical call. They wash their hands of it. They have a saying, nobody dies in the ambulance. And so even though that's literally what the case was, from reading the ambulance report and all the various reports that go with that, he did die in the ambulance. And there was no follow-up. There was no letting the police. I mean, I'm convinced there were things in that apartment that the police could have used.
Yeah.
And things, and it doesn't bring Isaac back.
They didn't pull a thread of any kind.
Correct.
To see where this came from.
Correct. And that's been incredibly frustrating. So we've had meetings with Senator Johnson, Tennessee State Senate leader. We've had meetings with the deputy chief of the Metro Nashville Police. We've had meetings with we had a meeting with Chief Drake just over a month ago. We had a meeting last week. The good news is they're developing a 10 code, a 10 this, a 10 that, a number yet to be determined, for suspected overdoses, which then is going to initiate certain protocols.
Protocol that okay, we need to ask these questions. We need to look for these things, right?
And so at a minimum, you get next of kin notification, and then ideally you get some kind of evidence that you can work with to progress toward solving the root causes of the issue and things like
Yeah.
that. And then you find out things like, ideally it would take a couple dozen detectives to work these cases. And at the time, I've heard a number as low as 3, a number no higher than 5 in terms of the number of detectives they had investigating
Right.
these kinds of situations. So there's,
Interesting. Yeah.
it's crazy to say, but in the last month, I actually feel a different sense of hope
Yeah.
that it will benefit somebody else
Mm-hmm.
in the future. What's in our field as well as other things. I'm not done playing music. We've got a patented product called Snare Skirt that is a drum accessory, and it cuts a lot of the garbage frequency to make a more pleasant listening environment, an easier recording environment where you can get more natural vocal mixes, things like that.
Cool.
So we've got some things going. We're not ready to be done with music in Nashville yet.
Yeah.
At some point, it's very likely that we'll move over to New Zealand. I don't know if that's a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year horizon, but it's but so that's something that we're thinking about. Gina's parents are aging, that kind of a thing, and so we're having to start talking about some of those. What's that going to look like in a year, 2 years, 5 years, that kind of a thing.
Are you in Columbia?
We live in Spring Hill.
You're in Spring Hill? Okay. Yeah.
Are there things that, I'm thinking like Winston has 3 kids. I have 4. You've experienced every parent's the worst nightmare. Are there things that you would share with other dads who have not gone through what you've gone through? Things that you would say, here are things that I think back on your interactions with Isaac, even your daughter as well. Advice, for lack of a better word, advice you would give other dads on how we need to be engaging our kids.
Sure, that's a great question. I love that question. And it comes back to show up.
Yeah.
Know who their friends are. And we did with Isaac was in high school band. He was in college band. He brought a group of friends with him home on spring break. I think it was his second. He went to University of Oklahoma as well. He was in the Pride of Oklahoma marching band, things like that. So we would go to, a couple times a year, we'd go out there and watch him perform, go to the rehearsals. We knew his friends, and that kind of a thing. We having dinner with him between gigs on the Tuesday nights. He lived in East Nashville. We'd see him, I don't know, about every week, 10 days or so. He would come down, and he was an amazing cook. He was with us for COVID. I'm probably in a weird position where I would love to do every day of COVID over again because he was in the house with us. And our thing we look forward to is what's Isaac going to come up with to make dinner. We talked, aftermath of all the social unrest that happened with George Floyd and that, we talked. So, know where they're at, know where their friends are, or who their friends are, and just be. Isaac had a wristband that he made, stamped out on a metal bracelet, with the words "Stay present." It's easy to get tied up with the phone and all this and that, but be present wherever you are. This brought me to tears one time thinking about it. Isaac made the marching band his first year. I was in the Navy working a job where I was very, very busy, but I was in Ventura County, California. But I was able to stop on my way home from a work trip, caught their Friday afternoon rehearsal before the game on Saturday, and then went to the game on Saturday and then flew home on Sunday. Well, the thing was, that Friday I was at rehearsal, but I had a work issue I had to call my boss about. It had to do, I was the wing maintenance officer for all of the Navy's E-2, the carrier-borne AWACS aircraft, and the C-2s, which bring all the people, mail, and cargo on board the aircraft carriers. So I had an issue I had to talk to my boss about, and he couldn't wait to get off the phone with me because he said, this issue will work itself. Well, it'll get worked out. He said, but right now, go be a dad. So I would just, in short, show up and go be a dad for your son and sons and daughters.
Wow. I make that so much more complicated than what you just said. I make it so much more complicated. Just show up and be a dad.
Be present.
Just be present. That's helpful.
If you had to pick one, are you choosing Cracker Barrel or Waffle House?
Thank you for that. Man, Cracker Barrel got weird for a second, but I think they're back on the right track.
It sure did.
And
That's a good way to say
It
it.
sure did.
I've
They got weird for a second.
But yeah, I've eaten plenty of both. My wife, before we moved to Nashville, would never eat Waffle House.
Oh man,
Pecan waffles, they are her thing.
Yeah.
Been many times
you've
that
converted her.
I have. Well, it's not. I hadn't even really eaten a bunch of Waffle House myself, but man, when it's 3 a.m. and you're really hungry, it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Nothing
being
like it.
available, Waffle House. Yeah.
Are there? We think that family heirlooms are fun, important. I don't know why I think that people in the South take them a little more seriously, but I think we do.
Yeah.
Are there heirlooms that you're excited that your grandkids are gonna have one day?
Or any that have been passed
yeah,
to you.
yeah, or any that you've been. Yeah,
I've got, as far as heirlooms, I've got my dad's trombone, which he bought for himself when he got divorced, kind of as a treat. So I've got that.
Cool.
Did he play trombone?
He did.
Okay,
He did. He went to University of Alabama. He was never in the marching band because he didn't have time. He was kind of paying his own way. He did deliver dry cleaning to Bear Bryant's house on a weekly basis.
Interesting.
He got to meet.
That's fun.
He got to meet Bear Bryant a little bit, but he got to talk to his wife
yeah.
all the time,
That's wild.
which is kind of cool. But
Coach.
Music in the family.
yes,
That's
as far as it, I don't know that we have that. I'm excited for our granddaughter to have. I've got a collection of military coins, the challenge coins, the Blue Angel uniforms. They're welcome to do with them, whatever they want. But also instruments. I hope that Stella is our granddaughter, and and they plan on having another one at least at some point. I hope they take an interest in drums.
Yeah.
Certainly in music. But
Yeah.
What does she call you?
Pop Pop.
Pop, pop.
Pop, pop.
Yeah, we are Gigi and Pop Pop to her.
Are you a mayonnaise guy?
As opposed to Miracle Whip, 100%.
Do you have a brand preference?
Are you loyal to one?
Hellman's Best Foods, depending on which
Oh,
side
gosh.
of the Mississippi
Get
or
out.
Rockies.
Get out.
What's yours? Are you
I'm a Dukes
Dukes?
guy.
I knew you were
Yes,
going to
I'm
say
a
that.
Dukes
There's
guy.
some Dukes in the fridge over there.
Yeah,
Dude.
yeah.
I think the Dukes. So the Dukes bowl game, right? When they dump the
Yeah.
cooler Dukes on the coach's head, that kind of grossed me
Disgusting.
out.
I agree.
That's gross.
I agree, but it's
not meant to
kind
be-
of fun though.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
You would
rather
love
than
that to
getting
happen
Gatorade.
to you.
No,
But-
I would not.
But no, except Miracle Whip. That's not even mayonnaise. But I've never had a mayonnaise I didn't like. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, are you from the South? You went to Oklahoma, lived in Maryland for a stint. Where were you born?
I was born in at Chanute Air Force Base, Illinois, which is now defunct, but it's close to Champaign-Urbana
Oh,
area.
okay. And then did you move around a lot as a
I
kid?
did move around a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see. Goose Bay, Labrador. I don't want to go down the whole list, but I spent a lot of time in Florida. I spent the majority of my career in California. I actually went to high school in California as well.
Yeah.
Some time as a young kid, and then another year while my stepdad was in postgraduate school
Yeah.
at Cal Berkeley.
Okay. That's great to know because nobody can answer this question.
Oh, in Oklahoma.
Like,
So I'd be
Yeah,
remiss. if I
yeah,
didn't.
nobody can answer this question like you. So is Southern hospitality a real thing?
I certainly believe so.
So you've seen everything, all parts of the country, the world.
I've seen a few. I've been to all 50 states. I've spent a fair amount of time in a couple dozen states.
Yeah.
So I absolutely think it's a thing. My mom is from Tuscaloosa, Alabama,
Yeah.
and I used to love the Thanksgivings or any time I had a chance to go there, and it just seems slower, not in a bad way, but it just seems more relaxed.
Yeah.
Maybe people don't take themselves, so seriously. They're happy to go to a movie and bowling. It doesn't have to be a big
Right.
blown up kind of thing. It's just simple. It's simpler.
Is that where your mom and dad met at the university?
They did?
Yeah. Okay. Some Alabama roots.
That's right.
Yeah. Having said that,
We did awful against them this weekend. Awful meltdown.
It was bad.
Tuscaloosa was very happy. We're UT fans.
Yeah, well, that's
I'm a
good.
growing UT fan.
I'm a,
Oh, okay.
and
Winston's a real
Kind of like
UT
me in
fan.
NASCAR.
I don't own a piece of UT.
Garments.
No, I don't own a hat or T-shirt. But I put on the game. I root for him.
It's a tough color.
I'm an anti-Alabama guy. Oddly enough, don't really
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
me why, but Oklahoma.
Well, we play Oklahoma pretty soon.
Yeah, I'll be interested
should
to
be
see
a
how that
good one.
goes. So hopefully Oklahoma.
And they got a good
stomps.
football team.
Yeah, yeah.
They've
Yeah,
got a
they
good
are.
team.
Hopefully, I like Mateer a lot.
Yeah.
John
Man, he's
Mateer.
fun to watch.
He is.
He is a lot of fun to watch. He's got a swagger to him.
He is.
I like that.
He's a Baker, like 10 years later.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield. Yeah.
Yeah, Baker. Shout out Baker.
Do you like playing country music the most, or is there another genre that's not necessarily native to the South that you like as well? Your favorite kind?
Right. So I love anything that anything that I connected to as a kid, stuff that brings back memories for me. That's what I love. And sometimes that's country. Sometimes that's, Conway Twitty and Merle Haggard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's Your Love by the Outfield. Or or a Def Leppard song, if we get to play.
Yeah.
My favorite song to play is Kryptonite.
Oh,
That song came out at the end of my first year on the blues,
yeah.
and it was a massive, massive hit at that point.
Three Doors Down?
Three Doors Down,
Okay,
that one,
okay,
yes.
Okay.
So that's my favorite. I just have so many positive memories associated with that
Interesting,
song.
yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
And it's a super fun groove, fun drum groove to play.
yeah.
On the Blue Angels for a minute, because I mean, we jumped into some heavy, serious stuff, but I grew up, knowing about the Blue Angels.
Have you been to an air show?
I've not been to an air
I
show,
never have.
but I've seen them. We've vacationed in Pensacola a few times. I feel like I've seen these blue planes that I think are the Blue Angels, flying around.
Absolutely.
You said there were 16 of them?
16 officers.
Okay.
We had, and so it's a 6-jet demo, right? So we'd have the 6, 1 through 6, and we had 3 single-seat spares. So that's a total of 9. And then we had 2 2-seat aircraft. The 2-seat aircraft we'd use to fly guest riders. We'd use to fly the narrator and his crew chief to the show site a day in advance to kind of get everything set up for the rest of the team to get there. And then we had the C-130 Fat Albert. So we had 12 aircraft total. It's a 6-plane demo, 12 aircraft total, 16 officers, and then the spectrum of enlisted sailors and Marines that took care of the jets and took care of the people.
Have you flown in one?
I have. I mean, not at pilot controls, but yes.
Yeah.
And remember I told you if I said the jets were good, the jets were good. Well, occasionally they'd say, okay, get in the back seat and put your money where your mouth is, so you got some
Yeah.
stake in the game. So I did get, I think, four demo rides and two transits. The problem with that, my job during the demo was on the ground and was to ensure their safety, was to ensure that the airspace was clear. And then if it wasn't going to be, there were some times where we'd be doing an air show and there'd be an intruder. There'd be an airplane that wasn't where it's, wasn't where it didn't belong. Or there'd be a life flight where, a helicopter has to get from a hospital to an accident scene or vice versa. And so depending on where the demo was, my job was to make the decision of whether to call and knock it off and let them do what they would have to do. Mm-hmm. Or if it was, 5 miles behind us, but the demo was 5 miles in front of us, maybe it's not going to be a factor. It was our job to figure that out and communicate that.
And the way I think about the Blue Angels, which might be wrong, but I've always sort of thought of them as like a marketing tool.
It's absolutely what it is.
So it's meant to
make a 12-year-old boy be like, yeah,
that's 100% correct.
I want to be involved.
I got to do
whatever
that.
they're doing. I want to be a part of that.
That's 100% correct.
Okay.
It's a key aspect of Navy recruiting. Key aspect of Navy. In fact, we'd get to a show site on Thursday afternoon. Friday morning, the first thing that the team does is they'll take an officer and enlisted member to a high school if it's during the school year.
Cool.
And you'll speak to a room, sometimes a gym, sometimes just a big classroom, a cafeteria, but you'll speak to a room full of kids. And in the summer, there were other like YMCA, other kinds of gatherings of kids where, you get to spread the message. And that's really the point. And so there are people in the middle of the country who had no idea that the Navy has anything to do with aviation, right? They're just
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just ships,
It's just ships.
but there
yeah,
are some people who don't realize. So that's why we go to, North Dakota and Kansas and Oklahoma, things like that, Missouri.
right.
Yeah, Top Gun, they were in the Navy, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I think a lot of people just think planes and they go, oh, well, that's Air Force, or
Yeah.
but absolutely.
Do you still follow anything military related with our government and the B-52s that flew the bunker bombs in the middle of the night? And are you still interested in that stuff?
Yes, I know. I'm a news junkie just from the get go. I'm a news junkie, and that's to my own detriment in a lot of ways. But yes, I absolutely do. The mission into the Iran, the bunkers, that was incredibly executed, incredibly. What we call the operational security of that mission to not compromise what was going on, no leaks. That was incredible to me. Still follow the Blues. We went to the end of season show last year, and we've still get communications on to let us know how the team is doing and things like that. Yeah. And I've still got some friends, people that were my colleagues and peers are now. A few of them are still very senior flag officers now, and so it's interesting to see what they're doing. And they're the strike group commander for this carrier that's out doing this very real world, kind of mission.
There's a documentary that's out right now, and I don't think it's about the Blue Angels, but it is.
I think it might be. I feel like I've seen one
where it's like it's a tryout. They go through the tryouts to become.
Oh no, that's pilot. It. Was it the IMAX movie they did?
Yeah,
with the female pilot. Right?
I think so.
Yeah, that came out in I believe it was either 22 or 23.
Yeah,
but it had to be 23. It followed the entire, I believe, 2022 or 2021 season, and yes, it was kind of cradle to grave as far as the season goes.
Okay.
The winter training in El Centro, and there's a guy there, a couple guys struggling with the demo, but that's standard. What you get to see under the hood for sure. And that's a great way to do it. It's the Blue Angels IMAX movie.
It's cool.
Interesting.
The new boss the new boss interviews, and then they ultimately show you who's selected. They show you, not behind the door, but that 16 against 1, kind of they can ask anything. You see that, you see what that day looks like for those people.
So these pilots are not, they're actually active duty. They're not like retired or towards the end of their
they're
tenure.
100% active duty.
They're active duty. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and that's where they go when they're done. When their time on the Blue Angels is done, they go back to the fleet.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's wild. I thought for some reason in my head it was like these guys have been flying for 20 years, and it's
how long is the tenure of a pilot?
It's depending on what job you get on the team. It's either 2 or 3 years, and some of that is based on how senior a person is when they get there. Can they afford the extra the third year on the team? But it's set up so that each officer on the team, there's a second year person to train the first year person, right? So, for example, the new boss, if he shows up as a new boss, the right wingman is going to be a second year person. And that's because the second year person calibrates the boss on, okay, you're rolling the aircraft a little too fast, a little too slow. You're pitching a little bit too fast, a little bit too slow. Your power adjustments. They tell them all those things, what the demo should feel like. And then, in the next year when it's a second year boss, that first year too,
there's continuity,
right?
All the way through.
Exactly. He just learns what that feels like. The left wingman number 3 goes to number 4 as the slot pilot. The slot pilot is the safety observer, the safety officer for the entire demo, and he's right there behind everything. And he's the most direct, I would tell you, during the debrief, which are very direct by nature.
Makes sense to me.
And then, 5, the lead solo was the opposing solo number 6 the year before. And so there's a natural progression that happens with that. The third year comes in where you've got number 7, who's the narrator, the advanced pilot. I was always pretty envious because they always got to fly the celebrities and the athletes and the local news media, things like that. But they also go a day earlier to every show site. They're doing an extra year on the team. I was envious of that too, because, who wants to turn into a pumpkin after you got to live that kind of life? But it really, really was an amazing time.
That's awesome. Well, Thank you for your service. I'm glad that there are genius mechanical engineers from Oklahoma that graduate from Oklahoma like you that do that. So thanks for that's an amazing amount of service. So
thank you
for that. honestly, thank you for opening your heart to us today.
Yeah.
It really was really impactful to me, and you'll be in my heart, well after this podcast. So.
Well, thanks so much for that. And thanks to Michael for the referral and for trusting me. Like I said, that was very intimidating.
He came through. He came through.
I hope you feel that way.
Absolutely.
But now,
it's incredible.
now you will leave here with the task of
Who's next?
who's next.
Challenge. I can't give you a name today, but
Yeah.
Challenge.
You've got some. You've got some.
And maybe don't take 6 months like Michael did.
I think we forgot about it maybe for a little bit. He was opening his thing.
Yeah, I get it.
And just call
I
me-
still
call
haven't
me the
been.
other day.
I still haven't been. I need to go.
We need to get down there.
yeah,
We need to get down there.
I
Nah,
hear it's great.
that restaurant's amazing.
I want to go on a Saturday night to the thing. He
Well,
said,
yeah.
but he said it's booked out for 3 weeks.
Well, I mean, come on.
Wait, are you telling me?
But he's got a
Michael could-
reserved area. He's got a reserved
Does he?
area for only people that he's interviewed on podcasts with.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding, but he does. He said he could get us in.
I know a guy. We can.
Yeah,
I think
yeah, we
probably
can
make
figure that
happen.
out.
We can figure it out. Alan, this has been a pleasure.
Yeah.
I hate when people say I'm going to echo, but I'm going to reiterate. I can't think of a good word right now.
You can't even say it differently.
It's I just appreciate you being vulnerable and opening up. I cannot imagine how hard that is to talk about. And
I hope I hope it felt good to be received and talk about it with us. And I just admire your courage to do it.
It did well, and
Emotional immersion. I'm taking that away. I'm taking that. You gave me some courage.
well, thanks so much. Thanks for having me. And
Yeah.
again, there's got to be some good that comes from it. And
amen.
thanks for being part of in a vehicle in some ways to hopefully make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. That puts this one in the books. Thanks for listening, and keep coming back, y'all.
Hey, thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out the other videos on our channel and make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos.
And if you're tired of seeing our faces talk, you can go the audio only route and catch us on Apple and Spotify. If you do that, be sure to subscribe, give us a rating and a review so that we can reach more people.
See y'all next week.